All right, man. What else is going on in the NFL? I don't know, man. Anything else going on in the news? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Harbaugh's extension. It's not official yet, so we don't know the details. But everybody's reporting that he's going to get an extension here worked out in the next couple of days, and it's looking like Greg Roman is probably going to stay. That's what people were saying. Though that's they seem a little less confident about that, but they're saying it's looking like he's going to stay. But we don't hear anything about extension for him either, because I think he might be in his last year of his deal as well. So, all right, what does this mean for the Ravens? You go ahead first, B, because I have a few thoughts. You and I are on the same page with this things to say.
So my thoughts on it, I tweeted out before. It's absurd that he's getting an extension. I know that teams in general and Baltimore specifically don't like to have their head coaches, coach on the last year of their deal. But if you were not interested in giving him an extension before, then he shouldn't be getting an extension now, right? You don't extend him just so that he's not there on 1 year deal. If that's the case, fire him, move on, get somebody else in there, right?
Yeah.
Because we can say that it doesn't matter, it's whatever, the contracts don't matter, and he'll get fired after this year if they have a bad year, and that part might be true, but as we're going to be discussing here in a moment, he's going to have input into who the offensive and defensive coordinators are.
Yeah.
He's going to have input into what you do in free agency. He's going to have input into what you do, or what players you take in the draft, and all that is going to outlive his tenure in Baltimore. So if you're not confident in him as the head coach, you're not confident enough to give him that extension on the merits of what he's doing, then don't give it to him. And either make him coach out that last year, or just fire him altogether and get a new coach in there who you believe in. And speaking of belief, with the news of Greg Roman staying, my thoughts on that is that they don't believe that Lamar can pass. Yes. They don't believe that he can lead that team with his arm. They're saying, hey, we've got this offensive coordinator who we know cannot put together a pass game. We know that.
Yeah.
Nobody can argue otherwise. They went out and they got 2 other coaches to help him implement a pass game because he can't do it himself.
Yes.
And you've got your franchise quarterback, and you're saying this is the guy for him. So what that's saying is, hey, we need this guy who's going to be creative in the run game and get Lamar to use his legs and win us games that way. Because if we get rid of him and we bring in somebody else who's more pass focused or more pass oriented, Lamar's not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail right on the head, man. I agree. Like, and my thing is, yes, they're all saying we don't believe in him as a passer. And if you don't believe him as a passer, you don't believe in him as a quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. That's the crazy thing. But they also recognize that he's the one that's keeping us employed here, right? So if we just keep riding this gravy train, we just keep, just limiting his passing and have him run and have him be our leading rusher every year, he will do enough to get us wins, because he can go off script when we need him to pull out these wins. And all we have to do is just be above average, right? And really, that's what this signals. It signals more so than what Harbaugh and Roman think of him. What the front office thinks of Harbaugh and this franchise. What they're telling you is they're okay with being second tier. They're okay with being a second tier team. We know who the top tier teams are, right? We just watched them this last weekend, right? Mm-hmm. You're talking about the Chiefs. You're talking about the Bills. You're talking about the Rams, right? Those are the top tier teams. We're not anywhere near that. I mean, we can appear to look like that when Lamar's on the field because he's that kind of player. But we're not that. So bringing back Harbaugh, that's one thing, right? You've had success with Harbaugh. You won a Super Bowl with Harbaugh. And like I thought, like I said before, if he got rid of his coordinators and said, hey, especially Greg Roman, and says, hey, I got to switch it up, maybe you feel a little bit better about it and say, okay, he's learning. But that ain't the case, right? He made a sacrifice to save his job. Hashtag self-preservation, right? And turn around and hire just another one of his friends that was already working here before, right? And nothing's going to change. They're going to run the same defense most likely, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But yeah, I mean, basically they're saying we're okay with being above average. The people that defend them, the Harbaugh protectors out there, will say, yeah, we're okay with being above average. That's exactly what you're saying. Hopefully we get a shot at winning the Super Bowl. Maybe we get lucky. That's what you're talking about. You're not really talking about competing with Kansas City. I know you're not talking about that. You're talking about maybe we get lucky. Maybe we catch them sleeping one year and we can win it all. But actually competing with this team with Greg Roman here, no. And not adding enough talent. Like if we added the talent, if we said, hey, we are going to go get AB, we are going to spend top resources on building this O-line, right? Maybe we draft another wide receiver. Then I could say there's too much talent for us to not compete, even with Greg Roman calling the plays. But we're not even talking about that. So what you're saying is you're okay with being second tier.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I mean when I say most teams in professional sports are not trying to win. The Ravens are, I mean, forget this past season with the injuries, right? The 3 years prior to that, they were a great regular season team and an embarrassment in the playoffs, and they've done nothing to rectify that.
Yeah.
Except, say, Greg Roman's coming back, John Harbaugh's getting an extension, and the only person who actually did his job in that stretch, Wink Martindale, is out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, they're not saying, hey, you know what? We've got what we want to be is a smash mouth run team, run the ball, play defense, and that's how we're going to win our games, right?
Yeah.
They were the best defense in the league over that 3-year stretch. Yeah. They were the best run team in the history of the NFL. And they got to the playoffs and they saw it doesn't work like that.
Right.
And they said, you know what? Let's be a smash mouth run team and play great defense, and that's how we're going to win. They're not trying to advance. They're not trying to get better. They're looking at what the other teams are doing. They saw Kansas City, and I'm sure everybody here saw the tweet. They saw Kansas City go out there and score with 13 seconds left, right? They saw Gabriel Davis go out there with 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. They saw that back and forth fireworks show. Mm-hmm. And what did Baltimore do the very next day or right after that game? They tweeted out, we've got 2,000-yard receivers.
What a joke. What a joke.
You have 2 guys who went over 1,000 yards. You don't have anything that looks like what we saw on the field last week.
No. Not at all. Not at all. What Kansas City did, they put up 42 points against the number one defense, but also number one pass defense in the league. I think they were averaging like 182 yards a game or something like that. Something ridiculous. Like that defense doesn't give up passing yards. We give up all the passing yards.
Mahomes had 177 passing yards after the 2-minute warning of that game.
Listen, man. But we sitting here talking about smash mouth football. Oh, hold on. We got a donation here. Shout out to Anonymous. Says, should Mr. Jackson leave Baltimore soon? You know what? We're going to talk about that too. We have a lot of Ravens talk to talk about. We're going to get to that. But I'm going to answer your question. He hasn't signed his extension, and I don't think he should. I think he needs to hold out. If you're going to bring back Roman, okay, cool. Because Harbaugh is one thing. He might like Harbaugh, and he might be cool with Harbaugh staying. We know he doesn't like Roman, right? He said enough about the playbook, about the offense, for you to get the point that he's not really feeling what Greg Roman is doing. We know Hollywood doesn't like it. We know other players have come out and said it. We know David Culley has said that he's holding Lamar Jackson back, right? Like, we all know that the team ain't feeling it. So if you're being that stubborn, again, this is ego. This is Harbaugh's ego getting in the way. You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to hire my friends, and I'm going to keep my friends. Oh, you're making me fire my one friend? I'm going to hire another friend, right? That's ego getting in his way. Okay, well then, what I can control is I don't have to sign any contract with you. So, I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'll get paid. If I'm Lamar, yeah, I'll get paid. Don't worry. We'll just play out this year then. We'll see how it goes, right? If you still want me to be the lead rusher for the 5th straight year, maybe we're gonna have some problems next offseason signing me. You might have to tag me. Okay, I'll play on the tag, and I still won't sign. Right? Like, that's the leverage that he has. So absolutely do not sign a contract. If that's what you're going to do not sign a contract. I don't want to see Lamar play anywhere else. But if this is how they're going to treat him, he's going down the path of Cam Newton, of Donovan McNabb, and any other top black quarterback that didn't get the support for his team. I'd rather see him just leave instead of go down that road. So it is what it is.
I agree. Like don't sign the contract until Well, go and talk to EDC and tell him, look, I want somebody besides Greg Roman. I want an O-line, and I want better wide receivers.
Yeah.
And once you make that happen, then the contract is signed. And if that doesn't happen, then like you said, I'll be playing on the franchise tag.
Yeah.
I'll be playing on the 5th-year tender, then on the franchise tag, and then we'll see what's what after that. But this is the point where, Lamar has the ability to take his future in his hands.
Yeah.
If you go ahead and just sign that contract, Baltimore's going to do whatever they want to do. And there's not really a whole lot you can say about it. Yeah, you can ask to be traded, but they can comply with that or not. If you don't sign, they're absolutely listening to what you have to say.
Right.
And trying to make that happen.
Absolutely. All right. So here's what we're going to do, because we still have to talk about the defensive coordinator that they're seemingly about to hire. We got to talk about AB wanting to come to Baltimore and play with Lamar. We still have a Harden story to talk about, but we still got lunch money bets coming up. D Weezy is waiting. But before that, I just want to read a few comments. Kimberly Harmon, what's up, Kimberly? I see you in the chat. Thanks for coming through. She says, I thought Greg Roman was leaving the Ravens. He ain't leaving. I would love for him to do the honorable thing and just say, you know what? I'll step it down. Man, Wells Call of Duty channel says nepotism at its finest. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'm not sure if it's EDC or if it's Steve Bisciotti that's letting them get away with this, but I mean, like you fire Wink thinking we're thinking, okay, the pressure's on him. Maybe he's getting it, and next thing you know, he gets a contract. He's like, I'm just playing. I'm gonna go hire my brother's guy, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't make me feel comfortable. You shouldn't feel comfortable either. Just Alice says, honestly, Brodny, I think the Ravens are cheap and stupid. I literally think they don't get it. They are cheap. Yeah. I don't think they're stupid. I think they look at a formula and say, we'll win more times than we don't. Every now and then we might get lucky and win a Super Bowl. But we don't have to do any more than that. But this might come back to bite them this year because people hate Greg Roman now, and they see what he's doing to Lamar Jackson. Stats are going like he's only gotten worse every year since the MVP year. It's gotten worse, and you keep making excuses, right? Everybody keeps making excuses, but excuses only last for so long. Everybody has obstacles that they have to get over, right, or get around. But when you're losing, you have to make excuses. Winners don't make excuses. And people get tired of hearing the excuses. Zaul Martinez says, hola. What's up, everybody? What's up with you, Zaul? Thanks for coming through. Zeta B says, Marquise should have had 1,400 yards with all his drops. Even if he caught the passes, I mean, he would have been closer, but his yards per catch weren't that great. Yeah. He got a lot of targets. Let's see. King Bird says EDC and Harbaugh and owners smell a little racism to me. That's facts. I don't know if it's racism. I don't know if it's. I don't think that. I mean, they wouldn't have drafted him if it's that. But there is some biasness when it comes to black quarterbacks, right? Darren says, man, this convo is not making me feel good about this organization. Literally feels like being a Dolphins fan or something. Well, look, we still have Lamar. We still have this offseason. And the news isn't official yet with all these guys. So we still have to wait and see about that. But no, you should not feel good. And we're not here to make you feel good, right? We're going to tell you what we see and, our thoughts on it. We don't like to sugarcoat things, right? We all know Greg Roman is not good at his job, right? Some people might argue it, but he's not good. He's at the very least, he's very limited at his job. Yeah. We know that. Okay. So if he stays, expect the same offense. I don't know why we think, oh, well, with a better O-line and now that we have Keith Williams and T. Martin, the passing game is going to take off. Why would you think that if he's still calling the plays? He doesn't know how to call plays.
Yeah. Well, look, again, it's one of those situations where you're going to be looking for the players to kind of brute force it, right?
Yes.
You're saying, hey, Hollywood's a pretty decent player. We all hope Rashad Bateman turns out to be the number one receiver there. Hopefully they bring in another starting caliber wide receiver this offseason. And if you fix the O-line and Lamar has time to throw and some pretty talented players there, then the passing offense will be all right. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's not Greg Roman's doing.
Yeah. Danny says, preach, Jose. They are not building this team to win a championship, only to win enough. That's facts. And shout out to Mikey from Off the Record Podcast. Says, yo, I looked at the clock like I'm late. What's good, fellas? What's good with you? And we should have mentioned this at the top of the show. Our guy Mikey, we do a podcast with him. If you are not subscribed, go over to Ring Kings Podcast. Go over there right now. Go hit the subscribe button. I'll give you a second. You go hit the subscribe button. All right. Help us get to 50 subscribers real quick. Then help us get to 100. Okay, those are our quick goals. Quick goals. If you're into boxing or if you just love hearing our voice, go over to Ring Kings Podcast. Okay, we got 2 episodes up. We're getting ready to record our 3rd one. Lots of fun, man. Lots of fun. Just Aloe says the Ravens are a bad organization now because they don't recognize how great Lamar is as a passer. He says it too. Racism is a part of this viewpoint as well. Again, I won't say it's racism, right? Like this, look, I don't think they're flat out racist. I think there is a racial element for sure. For sure.
There's different levels to it, right? Like, I don't think that they hate black people, but that's what implicit bias is, right?
Yes,
you look at a black quarterback and you think he's less.
Yes. So I mean, he's essentially saying the same thing, right? We're using different words, but yes, that's what he means, and I don't disagree with you. Rocking with Shady, thank you for coming through to the live stream. Says EDC just worried about draft picks. He's not worried about actually winning Super Bowls. Can't be. Hey man, these are the conversations we need to have. You got to hold your team accountable, right? We're not trying to be all negative. We're not trying to be salty, but when they're not doing the right things, you can't give them kudos for it. You can't sit there and say, oh, everything's going to be okay. And then when it's not okay, you make excuses. Hold your team accountable.
And I think we can close out on this for right now. Daniel Jeremiah said, he was quoted, the regular season is about your floor and the postseason is about your ceiling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the difference in Baltimore. They're a great regular season team and they're a bad postseason team right now. And that's what you get by collecting comp picks and 4th round picks and everything like that and just hoarding them. You're loading up on mediocre players.
Yeah.
ESPN put out their list of top 50 free agents. Baltimore has a long list of guys who are free agents this year. One of them is on that list, and he was number 31, and that's Bradley Bozeman.
Yeah.